Interesting suttas. Okay, I'll stop here and we can discuss. I may be able to finish in another 1 or 2 nights, Yeah.
Without trying to make an effort to understand and talk of the things about the form. Now, we are thinking, how can we think of all over this is suffering and all this, but we have a specific object and say, oh, this is suffering, and this is a suffering, and think along the line.
No, to see suffering, you have to see impermanence. You have to see how conditions are so impermanent that they change, they rise and pass away, So, if you accept that things are impermanent, so when suffering comes, you can accept it. You know that it is because of impermanence that suffering comes, and also because of impermanence that suffering can also go away. So when we understand the Dhamma, whatever happens in the world, whatever suffering that comes to us, we accept it. We don't cry and become frustrated and all that. So that's why in the suttas the Buddha says that an ordinary worldling, he's stabbed by 2 knives, the knife of bodily pain as well as the knife of mental pain. But the Arya, the person who understands the Dhamma, he only has bodily pain. He does not have mental pain. Whatever comes his way, he just knows it's due to causes and conditions. So he does not think too much about it. He just proceeds to do what needs to be done. Yeah.
But I think this is a meditation that helps us to strengthen the mind.
Oh, definitely. You know why this mental pain is so unbearable for most people? Is because we keep thinking about it. This is called papancha, proliferation of thoughts. For example, if somebody says something nasty to you, you get angry, and then actually after that, everything should be settled. But then, because of attachment, you cannot let go. You think of it again anger comes up, and then you keep thinking of it. The whole night you cannot sleep. Tomorrow you're still angry. So it's a poison to our system. So this tendency for the mind to proliferate, to multiply your thoughts. Why does your mind multiply these thoughts? Because it's the tendency of the mind to flow. Whereas a person who meditates, he learns to focus his mind. And the Buddha says that because when the mind is focused, becomes one-pointed, he experiences a kind of happiness which is free from thinking. And that happiness is a superior happiness. When you have attained the happiness which is free from thinking, then you don't have the tendency to think so much. Because thinking is a kind of happiness, A lot of ordinary people, we like to think and think and think. When you have nothing to do, you start daydreaming, you start fantasizing. Oh, if I become a millionaire, what I can do with my money and all this thing. So, if you have attained the happiness where the thinking stops, then you tend to go in that direction. The mind tends to go not to think. Whereas an ordinary person who has a very scattered mind, he keeps thinking and thinking and thinking and get a lot of mental dukkha. That's why about in the 1996, 13 years ago, when I went to Perth, I went to Ajahn Brahm's monastery, the Buddhist center in the Perth city. I saw a lot of Westerners coming to learn meditation. And I was surprised, a bit surprised to hear, and many of them are Christians. They come to learn meditation not because they are interested in Buddhism, but because they are interested to lessen the mental dukkha. Westerners, they are very good at using their mind. They use their mind so much that they get a lot of mental dukkha. And unlike a lot of Asians, Asians are more simple-minded. We don't use our mind so much. So they come to lessen their mental dukkha. Then when they progress in meditation, then they become interested in Buddhism. Nowadays, now and then you read in the papers, people become crazy because of using the mind too much. Start killing people and all that.
And when we see the truth, we tend to let go and be more at peace with ourselves. So this peace, I wonder what's the difference between Santi, the difference, what's the difference between Passavi and Santi, the tranquility you get, and this peace and this things the way they are, the truth.
I think there's a bit of difference. When you see the Dhamma, then you accept things as they come. But the other one, the Passaddhi, the tranquility, comes from a focused mind, a concentrated mind, a mind that has attained jhana. So, for example, Sotapanna, stream enterer, after learning the Dhamma, so he accepts things that come his way, so he has peace of mind. But that is not deep peace. That is not deep peace. The Passaddhi, the tranquility of mind, is a deeper peace. It's a deeper peace. But then, of course, the first one, the Santi, the understanding of the Dhamma, helps you to progress in the direction of attaining the jhanas. Contentment is because of understanding the Dhamma, then contentment also means having few desires, having few wants. So you don't think of wanting this and wanting that. And it helps a lot. Contentment is very much helped by Passaddhi. Of course, if you understand the Dhamma, then you have peace of mind, and then contentment to a certain degree, to a slight degree, follows naturally. But if you have attained the jhanas and attained tranquility, then you find happiness within you, in your mind. In which case, you don't look for happiness outside, through sensual pleasures, through sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So your contentment, it can also say, is a more deeper contentment when you attain the jhanas.
I think that means when we learn the Sutta, we see the Dhamma, not necessarily at the Brahmani level. It is like a big accumulation from one thing to the other, and eventually get the tranquility.
Yes,
all come together.
Yes.
So in a sense, the person is not able to get the calmness within it. So they is frustrated and they tend to go out and sit. So maybe the understanding of Dhamma is not easy, they tend to go out and sit pleasure rather than sitting down there and driving away the bones.
That shows if they go out and look for sensual pleasures, that means they haven't understood the Dhamma. If they have understood the Dhamma, then even though walking the spiritual path is so difficult, then they will keep working on it. Just like, say for example, a monk who having understood the Dhamma, he renounces. Then he renounces, he goes to stay in a cave and he practices. When he's practicing in a cave, a lot of defilements come and disturb him. But he does not go out and try to find pleasure somewhere. He continues doing his work, even though it's very hard, very tough. He suffers to the extent maybe he has gastric problems and all that. But he still continues struggling until he overcomes it. That is found. That must come from understanding the Dhamma. That's why the Buddha always says the foundation, there are two foundations, is moral conduct and right view. If you have right view, understanding of the Dhamma, then you know that what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is worthy of striving for, what is not worthy of striving for. The Buddha says there are two quests, the noble quest and the ignoble quest. The ignoble quest is the worldly striving. Ordinary worldlings strive for material benefit or material pleasures and all that. Whereas the Aryan quest is striving for benefit in the holy life. And if he has that understanding, even though the Aryan quest is very difficult, still he will continue, like the Buddha says, he's willing, even let the skin and bones remain, he will still clench his teeth and make the effort. So unless you have that right view, the Aryan right view, you're not willing to suffer for this in the spiritual path. It's only when you have the right view that you're willing to let go. A lot of people, they say they want to attain this and attain that, but when they make a bit of effort and then they cannot get it, they get fed up and go to India first, go for a tour, enjoy first. Just because they don't understand. If they understand, then they will keep plodding and they will let go. Keep letting go, keep letting go. A lot of people, they want this, they want that, but cannot let go. So when your hands are full of all the unnecessary things, how can you hold to higher things? You must let go all the rubbish in your hand, then only you can grab something worthwhile. Can, as a lay person also, you can make progress. The only thing is it's slower. It's slower.
Why can't the path, when they always mention that the path is full of suffering and the sufferers will get that. It's in why can't the path be a joyous journey?
Very, very simple answer. What is good is not cheap. What is cheap is not good. The price of something that is valuable, the price is high. If it's not high, it's not worthwhile. You can't get a Rolls Royce with the price of a Toyota car or something like that, right? So, because the effort now, you need a lot of effort now. But after you make progress, then the path becomes sweet. The initial part is very difficult to strive to attain jhana, but after you have attained jhana, and then even after you have attained jhana, to maintain your jhana is not easy, There are many people who attain jhana, they fall out of jhana because they cannot let go of worldly things. So to maintain your jhana, you have to keep letting go, aloof from people, and then only your jhana goes deeper and deeper and deeper.
We should go over and do a lot of ascetic practice and living with pain and all this. Does it become a factor for the enlightenment, or is it just living a comfortable monastery here and right?
Say again, you said about...
No, some of the monks get do a lot of ascetic practice in order to get living with pain, that is what makes that be the reason why the path is suffering. Or it is that we live in a comfortable monastery here. We shall not have to live in the cave.
You see, when the Buddha first started on the spiritual journey in this last life, he underwent a lot of unbeneficial ascetic practices and suffered a lot. And then eventually he found the Noble Eightfold Path. and succeeded. And then after that, he told his disciples not to practice those unbeneficial ascetic practices. However, he did not say that all ascetic practices are unbeneficial. So the Buddha said he taught the middle way, but his middle way to many people is also ascetic. For example, eating one meal a day, and then begging for the food, living in secluded places, isolated from people. That to many people is ascetic, So now, what is important is to understand the Dhamma so that we practice in the way that is the shortest way and the most beneficial way. See, that's why understanding of the Dhamma is so important. I see some monks, they, without much knowledge of the Dhamma, they go into ascetic practices. And sometimes they are very good in the ascetic practice, but unfortunately, it does not yield the corresponding desired result. You see, for years they practice ascetic practices, but they are not a Sotapanna, haven't even attained Sotapanna. See, and how? Because they didn't know that to attain Sotapanna, they have to study the Dhamma first. So that's why the Buddha always says that we have to rely on the Dhamma and rely on ourselves. Whereas a lot of people, we practice the holy path, we just listen to the teacher and we assume that the teacher is teaching what the Buddha taught. But very often the teacher does not teach what the Buddha taught. That's why the Buddha says that we have to listen to his earliest discourses. Then having heard the Buddha's teachings, then you practice. Then if you start off in a comfortable monastery like this, it's good because firstly you have not become, you are not tuned to ascetic practices yet. Even practice ascetic practices, you cannot simply go into you want to learn swimming, you don't jump into the deep end of the pond, you must learn in the shallow water first, and then slowly you progress. So you come here, you learn the basic Dhamma, and then you learn the basic meditation, you learn to meditate, like here we practice 4.5 hours a day. And then as you progress later, after a few years of monkhood, then if you can go off and live alone. But here also, if you really want, you can go into seclusion and other monks can serve. And then you cut off and do your intense practice. But it's very, very important to understand the Dhamma so that whatever you practice, you are practicing in the right way.
The Buddha asked Mahathera to, when he was growing older, to give up his austere practice. This because he was operating in Arhan and he was getting old, then the Buddha asked him to be closer to him and to
I think the Buddha said that out of pity for him. As we grow older, it's definitely more difficult to be ascetic. For example, like Venerable Mahakassapa, in his old age, he stayed in the forest alone and all that. In the forest, at night when the wind blows, it's very cold. And when you're old, you have feng sap, arthritis here and arthritis there. It's not easy to withstand all the cold wind and sleep on the bare floor and all these things. So out of pity for him, the Buddha suggested that he come and stay in the monastery. But he said for the good of the future generation, he still maintained his practice so that to show the way to future monks that this is the way to becoming an arahant, staying alone, staying in the forest and all that. Nowadays you find some Mahayana teachings, they are telling you the opposite thing. Don't go and live alone. Live alone, you are not facing the crowd, you must come and face the crowd. All this rubbish which the Buddha never taught. God, shall we end here for tonight?